Hello and welcome everyone, Lionheart here, and today I'm taking a look at the SanDisk Extreme Pro 480GB SSD solid state drive from SanDisk. So yeah, they've kind enough sent this over to me. This isn't a sponsored review or video, but I want to give you guys a heads up because there's also a pretty good deal for this at the moment going on at scan.co.uk. You can find a link to it in the description. For £149 you can pick one of these up, which is a pretty darn sweet spot in terms of price and SSD, you know, reasonable size capacity. 480 gigs worth for £149. For those of you in the US, you can pick one of these up from Amazon for $219, which again I still think is a pretty good deal. The Extreme Pro have blistering speeds in their range. So this has up to 550 megabytes a second sequential read speed and up to 515 megabytes a second sequential write speed. That is bloody fast. That's nearly 5 times faster than one of the mechanical terabyte hard drives that I've got in my PC at the moment. That is really, really fast. So those who aren't familiar with SSDs, what is the point of one? Well, first of all, the form factor, as you can see, is really small. If I pop it on top of my phone, which is the OnePlus One, you can see there how thin it is. So a really small form factor. It just has, you know, there's very little to it. This is going to be quite a short review. We're going to benchmark it in a moment. But there are some power adapters over here, and which is where you just connect your power and your data cable in your PC to. There are some screw holes around the side where you can obviously mount it into your PC as well. You may need a mounting bracket adapter, but they can be got for a couple of dollars, couple of pounds. If you don't have an SSD kind of mounting tray in your case already. But yeah, very easy to plug in and work with, and very, very fast. So why would you want an SSD? Well, normally, and especially in the past where capacities, like when the SSDs first came out, I think they were like 40 gig or something like that, 60, 80, 120 were the base standard, and they cost probably about the same price as this, £150. And what I used to recommend to a lot of people when they were like going, Lionheart, can you help me spec a PC out, a gaming PC, is that I suggest them getting a 80 or 120 gig SSD to install their operating system on, and maybe a couple of core programs, and maybe if there was space, one game that they wanted to run really quickly, and then to tell them to buy a traditional hard drive, a mechanical drive, say like a terabyte in size, to install all their games to. With capacities of SSDs increasing and the prices actually coming down to a far more reasonable level, something like this actually would work really nicely now, both as an operating system drive with large capacity, so you can install lots of your core programs on there, have all your music on there, have a couple of games on there, but also if you just wanted to get a dedicated high-speed data transfer drive for games, to install loads of games on, because SSDs will actually help quite a lot of games load quicker, and there'll be less waiting time in between loading screens for the most part. Obviously there's other factors in there that can influence that, but for me as a Total War gamer, I always load in and out of battles for all the Total War games really quickly with my games installed on my SSDs rather than my mechanical hard drives. I remember the days when I used to have them installed on my SSDs, and those who've been watching my channel for quite some time will remember when I actually had to cut out the loading times going into battles because they took so long. They took a couple of minutes, and that was minutes of me just rambling on about stuff and you guys just being bored waiting for the battle to start, and I'm sure a lot of you just skipped the battle. So I'd highly recommend one of these if you haven't already got one, either just to put your operating system, especially with Windows 10 coming out soon, get one of these, pop it into your PC, install your operating system on there, upgrade to Windows 10, you've then got a Windows 10 SSD with plenty of space for some games, some core programs if you want, or you can put all that onto another SSD or another huge terabyte hard drive or something like that, your games and what have you. Or you can just buy one of these separately to put loads of games on, you know, if you want your games, you know, not being limited by a hard drive speed. You'd be probably surprised actually some of your games that are held back by slower hard drives. So yeah, definitely food for thought. I mean, what do you guys, let me know what you guys think about SSDs in the description, in the comments rather, not in the description. You'll find links to where you can buy one of these if you want to in the description. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on SSDs. Are they worth it yet? Do you think, you know, the capacity is a reasonable level? The capacities are always increasing, and as I said, 480 gig I think is pretty darn reasonable. So we're going to pop this into the PC now, and load up a benchmark before we come back and give this a score. Okay, so we're now just on my desktop. I've plugged in the SanDisk Extreme Pro 480GB SSD, and I'm using a program called SSD Benchmark. This determines the kind of performance of a solid state drive and allows you to check its read and write speeds and get a score out of it and its overall performance. So what I've quickly done here, as you can see, I've already tested my current primary operating system SSD, the Samsung Evo 840, which is a 250GB SSD. So you can see it's got pretty fast read and write speeds that have come up here. Again, obviously with the SanDisk one, I said it had up to 550 read and up to 515, so it might be a little bit lower than that, but it should be, you know, around about those sorts of numbers. So the overall score for the Samsung Evo 840 is 594. So we're now just going to select the SanDisk here. You have various benchmarks you can do. I'm just going to do it on the 1 gig test. This is sort of reading and writing 1 gig and see what its speed will be. And then I'm going to run the test now. And we're going to watch it live as it comes on in. I'm just going to talk about the actual benchmark itself and what it does. So the test itself measure how long in the sequential read and write speeds the SSD will take to read a 1 gig file and then write it. The 4K test will read and write performance at randomly selected 4K blocks. And the 4K 64 is a 4K procedure, but the read and write operations are spread over 64 threads. You then also have the final test at the bottom, and that measures the access time that it takes reading over the entire capacity of the SSD. This always comes up when I've been running the test, but I've been ignoring it because obviously the read, it's just the right time to check it. So 0.041 milliseconds. So there we go. We can see the performance of this is a lot higher than the Samsung Evo, nearly double its score overall, 1044. So that's the end of the benchmark there. A little quick test to show the difference and comparison of scores there. We're now going to jump on back, wrap up, and give this a score. So that was the benchmark test. This, obviously we compared it up against my current operating system SSD, which is the Samsung Evo 840. That got a score of 500 odd. This got a score of over 1,000. So total performance on the AS benchmark, this is looking pretty good. It definitely lives up to its Extreme Pro name. There we go. Get your words out, Lionheart. So yes, definitely lives up to its name. 480 gig for £149 or $219 US. It definitely hits that sweet spot between capacity and price. Because of that, score-wise, I mean, there's not a lot to it. It is an SSD. That, you know, no bits pull out from it. It's nice and thin. It works. It's fast. It gets a 9 out of 10 for me. And it gets my raw recommendation, which I give to products that, you know, really stand out in their class or hit that sweet spot for price, performance, and in this case, capacity. So let me know your thoughts on SSDs. I mean, they've changed a lot, as I said, over the last couple of years. Price is coming down, capacity is going up, and hopefully that will continue. You know, I don't know, I wonder if, you know, one day, mechanical drive-wise, it will have gone and you'll be able to get like a terabyte SSD for £60–70. That'd be insane. But yeah, right now, £149, $219. This is certainly a great SSD to look out for if you're looking to get a new operating system drive for Windows 10 with extra space, extra room for your documents, music, even putting some games on there, or if you just want a dedicated high-speed SSD for gaming. This one's something to look out for. Anyway, yeah, let me know your thoughts on SSDs in general. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Take pride in joining the Legion. Check out my affiliates and sponsors, XMG and Green Man Gaming. Big thanks to SanDisk for sending this over to me. And I will see you all again soon. Ciao for now.